Why does Amber Rutter make hitting difficult targets look so effortless? Is she simply more talented? Or is she doing something most shooters never notice? I spent an entire week studying her technique, frame by frame, to find out. What I discovered wasn't a secret lead system or a magic trick. Instead, I found 5 simple habits that make a huge difference from what happens before the target even appears to why she never seems to force the shot. By the end of this video, you'll know which parts of her technique every clay shooter should copy and which ones they shouldn't. Section 1. Why study Amber Rutter? Elite shooters don't become champions because of one secret trick. It's usually hundreds of tiny habits working together. Amber Rutter is one of the smoothest shotgun shooters in modern competition. When you first watch her shoot, nothing looks rushed. Nothing looks forced. In fact, it almost looks easy. Targets disappear one after another without dramatic movements or obvious corrections. But when you slow everything down, you realize just how much is happening beneath the surface. Every movement has a purpose. Her stance looks balanced before she even calls for the target. Her gun mount appears identical from shot to shot. Her head stays remarkably steady, and her swing flows naturally instead of being rushed or aggressive. None of it looks flashy, yet that's exactly what makes it so effective. The best shooters often make difficult skills look effortless because they've removed unnecessary movement and built incredible consistency through years of disciplined practice. That's why I wanted to study Amber Rutter's technique. Because sometimes the biggest improvements don't come from learning something completely new, they come from noticing what you've been overlooking all along. Section 2, everything starts before the target appears. The biggest surprise wasn't her swing. It wasn't her lead. It wasn't even her speed. It was how prepared she already was before calling for the target. Her stance looked balanced. Her gun mount looked identical every time. Her head position barely changed. Nothing appeared random. Everything seemed intentional, as if the shot had already begun before the target was even in the air. That consistency means her brain isn't wasting valuable time making adjustments after the target appears. Instead of fixing her stance, repositioning the gun, or searching for a comfortable head position, she's free to focus entirely on seeing the target and reacting naturally. The entire system is already set. Most recreational shooters do the exact opposite. They call, then adjust, then fix their stance, then move their head, then settle the gun, then try to find the target. Only after all of that do they begin their swing. By then, precious time has already been lost, and the target has gained the advantage. Watching Amber Rutter made one thing very clear. Successful shots don't start when you call pull. They start several seconds earlier, with a repeatable setup that allows everything else to happen naturally. Section 3. Minimal head movement. One thing kept showing up over and over again every time I reviewed the footage. Her head stayed incredibly quiet. The gun moved. Her upper body rotated. Her eyes stayed locked on the target. But her cheek remained firmly connected to the stock from the moment she mounted the gun until after the shot was fired. That might sound like a small detail, but it's one of the biggest reasons for consistent shooting. Your eye acts as the rear sight on a shotgun. The moment your head lifts even by a fraction of an inch, the relationship between your eye and the barrel changes. And when that relationship changes, so does your point of impact. What impressed me most was that Amber never seemed to make those unnecessary head adjustments. She trusted her mount, stayed connected to the gun, and allowed her body to do the work instead. It also made me realize something important. Many shooters blame poor lead, slow reactions, or bad timing for missed targets. But in reality, the problem often starts with inconsistent head position. Watching Amber made it impossible to ignore just how critical a solid, repeatable cheek weld really is. Section 4. Smooth beats fast. Many shooters believe elite competitors succeed because they move incredibly fast. Actually, after studying Amber Rutter's technique for an entire week, I came to a very different conclusion. She isn't trying to be the fastest shooter on the range. She's trying to be the smoothest. Every movement has a purpose. When the target appears, there are no jerky starts, no sudden lunges, and no rushed attempts to catch up. Instead, her gun begins moving in a controlled, fluid motion that gradually matches the target's speed. The muzzle doesn't explode into action, it builds speed naturally and stays connected to the target throughout the shot. In contrast, a fast, aggressive swing often causes shooters to rush the shot, overswing the target, or lose their visual focus. Watching Amber made me realize that efficiency beats aggression almost every time. If your swing feels violent, rushed, or out of control, don't try to move faster. She trusts the gun. One thing became obvious after watching dozens of clips. She doesn't appear to aim. She simply mounts, looks at the target, moves naturally, and fires. That's because shotgun shooting is visual. The eyes drive the movement. The gun follows. Many club shooters constantly check the barrel. They split their attention between the bead and the bird. And that brief glance at the barrel is often enough to disrupt the shot. The moment your focus shifts away from the target, your timing can suffer. Your swing may slow down, and your movement becomes less natural. Her body and the gun simply respond to what her eyes are seeing. This doesn't mean she ignores the gun, it means she's already done the work before calling for the target. A repeatable mount builds confidence, and confidence removes the need for last-second checks. The more you trust your mount, the less you feel the need to aim the shotgun, and the more naturally and consistently you'll shoot. Before you go, subscribe for more shotgun tips every week. Remember, champions aren't copied, they're understood. Now tell me in the comments, what's one technique from an elite shooter that's improved your shooting? I'll see you in the next video.